5.
Hey guys, so Coralie came home from school and she was like, "Can we
Who
celebrate?"
bullied her?
She said, "Can we celebrate Kwanzaa?" And so
Sure.
so I told her, I was like, "Well, fine. I mean, if you don't want Christmas presents, we can, you know." So Ricky's like, "No, we're not Jewish."
Wow.
And I was like, "Ricky, you're not serious, right? That's not the fucking Jewish holiday." And then she's like, "Well, what is it then?" And then
Oh boy.
and then I just sat there and let her sit for a minute. She was like, "Hanukkah." And then Coralie was like, You guys ever seen what's that movie, Lilo and Stitch?"
Yes.
So after she said Hanukkah, Coralie was like, "Hanukkah means family."
Man.
Like, man, Ricky's fucking rubbing off on you, kid.
Something. Shit. George is ready.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Season 4, Episode 7
Right.
of the Speakeasy Gentlemen. If you haven't seen the show before, we do is drink and talk like we would at a bar, but we're all so far away, so we do it right here. My name's Josh. I'm in Spokane, Washington. My brother down there, Pierce, is in Phoenix, Arizona. My buddy, David, over there, is in Santa Ana, California. And our guest today, Zipp, not Dank Bergelson, is in Houston. So if you guys didn't see him on the show before, I started talking to him through Facebook. What the fuck are you doing, David?
Getting my drink ready, Dick. Go.
I started talking to him through Facebook, and he used like this pseudonym, Dank Bergelson, from a long time ago. And I thought it was
So it's not Bergelson, it's Brannigan, right?
like Zap Brannigan.
Yeah.
And I thought it was, like I thought it was like a stage name or something. So I just rolled with it, and I was like referring to him as Dank, and he's like, my name's not Dank, right?
Completely fair, though. Totally fair. I actually got rid of that Facebook because of that conversation. I was just like, "This is
because
that's
show.
not the. It's not.
You
the
made him
first time
rethink
that it
his life,
happened.
dude.
Yeah,
Fuck.
What'd you say? It's not the first time that's happened.
it's not the first time that's happened. So I was like, I got to get a new Facebook.
Josh really made you rethink your life choices. He's like, "Oh fuck, this guy's an idiot."
Oh man, Alex Wiley, what's up, George? What's going on?
up, boys?
So anyway, what's new since you've been on last time, Zip?
I got married on Friday. That'd be about the only
shit.
thing that's yeah.
Yeah.
That's it?
Damn,
you don't
you
have
didn't
anything
even
else going on?
Didn't even.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah.
So nothing, huh?
So it's been a happy marriage. So a couple days happy or what?
Yeah,
Sad?
so far so good. I my dinner was I ate a Lunchable
Oh.
with Capri Sun for dinner. So
Well, she really knows how to make it, huh?
thank you very much. We're progressive
Oh.
here.
Sorry.
Nice.
He
You
knows
should-
how to make
Yeah,
it.
geez, David.
Should be. I'm very offended that you didn't automatically assume that I was gay.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah,
It's 2019. Everybody's gay. Nobody cares.
everybody's gay. Everybody's at least a little gay.
So,
Have you
but-
tried dealing with women? Come on.
Yeah. I just
David,
told you,
no.
Mine says
Yeah, me?
dumb stuff.
My luck with women? No. What women?
I am surprised you didn't mention anything though, because as soon as you got on, David's like, "Hey, since the last time you've been on, I got a new phone." Like, and
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
You didn't even think to mention anything about your wedding.
It's nothing like a new phone. It's No, we got married at the courthouse, so we didn't have a wedding or anything, so it wasn't a big
Shotgun
grand.
wedding,
I mean, yeah. Yeah, we're having a real hard time conceiving right now.
Well,
It's
keep
been-
trying, guys.
It's
You'll get there.
difficult, yeah. I'm just pumping them full of the stuff, and it just isn't working. So
Oh man.
I hope he's not hearing that in the other room right now.
I hope he is.
Everyone keeps telling me that you shrank, Zip, but I don't see you shrunken.
Yeah, you're fine.
If anything, I'm
looking right
fatter.
John in comments says it's only gay if you're on the bottom. So,
Wow.
so
Power
Zip,
bottom.
so Zip, let's do a double toast here. First to your wedding.
Thank you.
But
Yeah, cheers,
second, last week we had a ventriloquist on, right?
Oh God.
But the thing is, so last week we had a ventriloquist on, and yesterday I was drawing something on, I was just drawing stuff on my phone and sending it to my daughter. She was guessing what they were. And yesterday I drew Big Bird. And then fucking the news broke this morning that Carol Spinney
You killed him.
died. I know. I was like, what the fuck?
Damn, dude.
Draw
me, Josh.
So, I know, dude. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, fuck, I should have drew David. But anyway, yeah, Big Bird was a big part of my life as a kid. And, pretty sad. But to your wedding on the bright note, right?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks
Congrats.
for.
Let me cheers your wedding
up.
with someone who died. Thanks.
Big Bird was gay, right?
Stuff. That's good stuff.
I think they all were, no?
Carol Spinney or the Muppet itself?
The Muppet.
I think the Muppet may have been. I mean, he did have a guy inside of him a lot. So, Zipp, we had you on the show before, so I don't think we should do wait a minute like we normally do. But I do have some questions for you from our new segment because I don't want to re-ask the same questions.
Okay.
But I want to hear what your answer is for this one. So, What's the creepiest thing you could say to a stranger in the street?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of the creepiest thing that somebody has said.
Like an actual thing someone said?
Yeah. I think the creepiest thing would be to say something about, like, the inside of their bedroom. It's like, I like how you decorate, you put up the new bed sheet or whatever.
So, a long time ago, I was on MySpace chatting with a girl, chatting her up. And
nice.
And I guessed, like, her posture in her room. I was like, no, I know you're just like I don't even remember what it was, but I was like, I know you're just like, sitting down doing this or whatever, like, I don't remember what it was, but like she freaked out so much that she stopped talking to me.
You called it.
She was like, what the
She's
fuck?
Like,
How do you know that? And I'm like, I was just guessing. I don't know. And then she was like, no, this is weird.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah. That's my luck. That's
David's like, I really got to stop doing that.
Yeah. Josh is just guessing. I'm living it up, actually.
David, if someone's watching this on their phone in their room, that's the closest you'd get to being in another girl's room.
Yeah. Or being on their phone. Like, fine. Totally fine.
All right. So speaking of technology, I read an article earlier this week that there's this robot called H1, and it has artificial skin now, so it could feel like touch. So we're starting to give robots feelings.
So the robot's already masturbated like 72 times or what? It's feel 00110.
That makes me excited because I hate robots, and I personally look forward to the day that we have like the great robot war, because for me, killing a robot would be just like tearing my toaster apart. So I hope that the robots have like a child equivalent, so I could like rip a robot baby in half in front of like new recruits. So now that they have skin, that just gives me a whole new, playground to work with here, as far as I can actually set a robot on fire.
Yeah, and it's gonna like feel it.
Yeah, I want it. Yeah, like.
I think that's kind of bullshit though, because like the robot army first is gonna be like our army before it turns against us, and we just gave like our robot army feelings. So
sentience just gonna come to life.
I talk about on podcasts all the time. I talk about how much I hate robots. So the day they take over, they're gonna have the technology to scan the internet and get a list of everybody who's anti-robot. And so I've just kind of assumed that I'm going to be like taking the trash out one day, and some asshole is going to come through a time portal like Terminator and kill me.
Did you ever see the movie Chappie?
Chappie?
I don't.
Yeah.
Is that the one where was that the Rock'em Sock'em robots come to life?
No, Chappie.
Dude, I always confuse that too, because there's Tough Steel or Real Steel.
Tough Steel.
Tough Steel.
Is it Tough Steel or Real Steel? The one with Hugh
Jackman.
It
was Shaquille O'Neal.
so like I keep confusing the two, and I always think like the one with Hugh Jackman being the bad guy is the wrong one.
The Hugh Jackman being the bad guy he was in Chappie. He was the villain in Chappie, yeah. And he had this weird like fucking 80s style mullet. It was so fucking hideous. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Is Chappie the one where it's an old man befriends a robot?
No.
No.
I know which one you're
Okay,
talking
never
about.
mind.
I know which one. It's like a tiny robot. It's a documentary.
Oh, I saw that.
What fucking
I didn't
movie?
see it.
Or not a documentary, an independent film. That was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
I'm really like into indie films, so I watched like a bunch of them. That was a good movie though.
Hi. I got Indiana Jones posters right here.
Not that kind of indie. Independent.
Oh. Look at, George says, have an epic battle with your vacuum.
All right, so apparently it lets them sense their surroundings, allowing them to feel, or allowing them to feel people and stuff. And I guess like there's a problem with robots exerting too much pressure. So like being able to hug a human, like before they wouldn't know how much pressure to put, and they would just like
You feel so soft.
I've got a better idea. I've got a better engineering perspective. I don't need the robot to hug anybody. Just don't teach it to hug. Just don't teach it to do anything that involves emoting.
You see those videos of like they give the robot guns and they're like putting it through this rigorous sort of training course and they just like bash shit over the robot and it like kind of to see how well it like reacts to certain things.
Yeah. That's I think that's fake though. I think it's like a
Is it really?
Yeah, because I saw like I don't know if it's the same group of people, but I saw like they shot the robot or something like that, and it was just a guy in a green outfit.
Dude, fuck that. And they need to stop.
The
Yeah,
very
there's
first, like once they perfect the robots, you know what the very first thing they're gonna be used for, right? Sex, yeah, of course. It's gonna be sex robots.
Oh, that's why it has skin.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know what? If you want to
David,
put
that sucks
if you
though,
wanna-
because even the robot could feel how disappointing you are.
Maybe the robot's gonna kill me right after. Cool.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like we're going in the wrong direction. Why do we need to make them look like us?
Assassination attempts? I don't know.
I'm happy leaving them as the single arm that puts doors on cars and factories. I think that's as far as they should go. No legs. Don't teach it how to open doorknobs. Just
Tony Stark's like fucking his workbench.
We should program like one thing that they can't do though. Like you mentioned, not being able to open doorknobs. Like, what if they could do everything, but they just couldn't open up a doorknob? Like the raptors in Jurassic Park. Like, they just couldn't do it. Would that stop us from being murdered by robots?
I think they would just learn how to do that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like if it would be like a Terminator sort of thing, it would advance like its AI advanced at a geometric rate and just.
Wouldn't it be easier to just program the robot to not hurt humans than it is to just program it to not know how to open a door?
It should be, but here they are. They're like, I wonder what else. How far can we?
Well, we don't even have to program it to not open doors. We just don't have to give it arms.
It was just smash through the fucking wall.
What do you guys think about the Tesla, the Cybertruck?
It looked hideous, dude.
It's the stupidest looking fucking thing I've ever seen.
If somebody was going to give one to me, I would say yes.
Would you bash the windows before? Like, let me try this out real quick. Bam.
I don't need bulletproof windows. I never asked for a car with bulletproof windows, even though I think you said you were going to talk about it later with the UPS driver. We all might need bulletproof windows, but.
Yeah, we're going to need fucking...
But let me take a drink.
Did you guys see it like dressed up like the... That's not called a DeLorean. Is it called a DeLorean?
What?
The Back to the Future thing?
Car?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's actually called.
Did you see it dressed up like one of those?
No. I saw it dressed up like a Porygon from Pokemon.
That? Okay, Pierce.
It's a Pokemon. Don't act like
one
you don't
other
know.
person watching knows what that is.
Don't act like you don't know.
George would know.
All right, so I want to pull that up. Talk about something else, guys. I'm going to pull that picture up.
The judge who married me on Friday brought up the Holocaust right before the ceremony.
No way.
Why?
because he thought he asked about my last name, and he was like, "Do you know Marianne? Yeah, Marianne so and so. She survived the Holocaust, and she grew up in Germany, and I was like, I've spent my whole life around here, and I've never heard of that lady. And
like,
it was a
I'm in
different
the middle of fucking the U.S. I'm in Texas. You really think I know anybody?
But it's also like I'm like 30 seconds away from being married. I don't want to talk about the goddamn Holocaust. Like he was also wearing a Hawaiian shirt under his robe. I thought that was funny because it was Friday. I guess it was casual Friday at the courthouse.
Casual Friday, just officiating a wedding.
Yeah. And then he called my husband. He referred to my husband as the bride multiple times.
Oh my God.
So he tried. He was the stereotypical like country judge with a big curly mustache and the accent. But he tried.
Just go to get a secular officiator or something.
This was cheaper.
Yeah, probably.
You should have told me, man, because I'm ordained. I totally would have been down.
There you go.
Are you?
Yeah.
Through who? I'm ordained through, it's like the Unitarian Church of Oregon or something like that.
Oh, no. Mine's the Universal Life Church.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Universal Life Church. That thing is hideous.
There you go. Took me for fucking ever, but I got it.
I don't know, man.
Pretty crazy.
Could you take yourself seriously driving the Cybertruck around town?
Here's my only positive to that thing. It's got a lot of power, right? I mean, it's built well, aside from how like stupid it looks.
Forget about it. It's got more power, better leg room for your legs. It's got more steering. I don't know, dude.
Anyway, so did you guys ever? I know. I'll ask you, Zipp and Pierce. Well, I guess I know Pierce, but David doesn't know. But Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I vaguely remember it. Yes, is that the one with the big rock statue that would talk?
Yeah, OMAC or something like that.
Yeah.
So, David was poor and didn't have cable. That's why I didn't ask you, David.
Okay, well.
So they're gonna do basically. I mean, it's kind of a spin-off of that show, but it's gonna be Star Wars themed.
Okay, I'm interested.
It's called Jedi Temple Challenge, and it's going to launch in 2020, and it's going to be on Disney Plus.
Is it for children or adults?
Yeah, it's for kids.
Man.
Just crash it.
Why are you telling me this? Why are you getting my hopes up? No, it's for kids. It's for kids.
I'm sure you could fucking do it, David.
You'll probably still watch it, David.
So it's going to be hosted by Ahmed Best. Do you guys know who that is? Ahmed Best?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Nobody? It's the actor who played Jar Jar Binks.
Oh,
great.
okay.
Remember the one who was just like...
There's the reason why we didn't know who that was.
Yeah, I mean, no, his story.
We never looked it up.
Sad. That dude's story is sad. Everyone was like, they were seriously telling him like, "Hey man, like you're gonna be the next fucking ET. Like you're gonna be the biggest, best." I swear, man.
How wrong?
I swear.
So look at that Jar Jar Binks, man. It's gonna be the shit.
And then,
Why did they lie to him like that?
And then all these Star Wars fans were like giving him death threats and stuff like that. He got like in a huge deep depression because of it.
I'm telling you, they should have just made him a Sith. It would have fixed everything.
It really would have. It really would have.
There was a lot of theories going around on YouTube, like prior to who Snoke was, right after Force Awakens. There's a lot of theories going around, and one of them was saying that
some guy who dies.
that Jar Jar was actually going to be a Sith. Yeah, and then it was like the things that he does in the prequel in Episode 1 that they're not. It's not a mistake. They do these things intentionally, you know.
Right.
Like if it's there on camera, there's a reason for it, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
One of them was like the way he jumps to an incredible height. It was almost like a force jump. The other one was as soon as he's in that underwater like craft with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, he's in the back seat and that creature's chasing him. He kind of just blacks out. They think that he kind of like forced, in a way, possessed that creature to be, you know, like get the fuck out of them, you know, like get away from him. And then he just like kind of, you know, comes to again, and then like danger's over. Like there was all these weird little things that he did that made people believe
that he was like intervening with what this.
Right.
And he
also
is the
ended
reason
up on the Senate, right? He's ended up being like a advisor or something.
And Jar Jar is the reason that they had to do the emergency landing in Tatooine. I don't remember exactly what he fucked something up on the ship.
Yeah.
They think that he was supposed to be what Count Dooku's character ended up being, but that George Lucas balked at it because for very good reasons how much everybody hated Jar Jar Binks. No, is that like a pity fuck casting for that guy to give him this, or because it seems like at this point he would want nothing to do with Star Wars?
I don't know. Maybe it's his redemption after several years. Maybe he's just.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm also assuming that he doesn't talk like Jar Jar Binks, like on a
That's a good assumption.
like on a day-to-day voice. Yeah.
We just rewatched those movies, and the movies kind of seem a little bit racist. Like the first people seem like
racist
the
against the Gungans?
Yeah, no. At first, like the first race, they seem like stereotypical like Asian people.
Yeah, they are very stereotypical.
And I'm trying to think of there's like another race.
The really bad one is the Jewish, the flying Jewish monster bug.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He wants money, and that's all he wants is money.
All he cares
that guy. Fuck, I don't even remember.
Watto.
And he's the one that owned Anakin as a slave.
Yeah.
And the Jawas are like the Mexicans.
Your little mind tricks don't work on me, Jedi.
I rewatched episode 1. Not that bad. Not as bad as everyone.
Yeah, I don't think they're as bad
as Last Jedi.
You're lying.
I honestly don't think the prequels are as bad as people make them out to be. I think the acting is horrible. I've actually read the prequels as in book form, and it actually wasn't bad. Like reading it in that. I know, right? Reading it that way, I was actually.
Somebody here is a nerd alert.
I'll give you episode 2 and 3, especially if you watch Clone Wars, the TV show. 2 and 3 aren't the worst thing in the world.
Oh, I'm the nerd. You watched the Clone Wars TV show.
They're filmed horribly, but I'm sorry. Phantom Menace fucking sucks. Like, it is just a dog shit movie.
It's still better than Last Jedi.
I didn't hate.
I don't know.
Last Jedi.
I didn't like Last Jedi the first watch, but then after the second watch, I was like, okay, I can see what they're trying to do. I just don't think there was too much to understand about it for it to work.
They definitely should have had Anakin always refer to things as pretty wizard.
Sure.
He did that in the first one, right? I don't remember. I didn't dream that, right?
I think you dreamt that. I don't remember that.
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Anakin Skywalker called something pretty wizard.
Either we're not remembering, or it is a Mandela effect. So
I don't know.
Well, anyway, the movie sucks. So.
So anyway, if you want to throw your hat in there, David, and be in that Star Wars Jedi Temple challenge, I think you should. It tests you on things like strength. So we already know you're losing on that one. Bravery. And knowledge. I wonder what the knowledge is based off of, like real stuff or Star Wars knowledge.
Probably like the expanded universe knowledge. There's a lot.
It'll be staged in a forest planet, Jedi Temple, and a jungle planet. Wait, that's the same forest and jungle planet? I must have missed one. And it's
forests and jungles are different.
It's with Ahmed Best, and then there's a humanoid droid who's going to be co-hosting with him.
Is it K2SO?
Oh no, it's voiced by Mary Holland. Do you know who that is?
Mary Holland. Is she a porn star?
I figured if anybody, David, you would know who she is. She must be like Star Wars noteworthy, but let me find out.
I don't know.
Mary Holland.
George says the writing is horrible. I don't think so. Just rewatch the prequels. Oh wait, I think he's talking. Alex says that he must be a Sith. He killed the whole fan base. Holy shit, dude. He kind of did. And then the backlash that he got on it, the actor, what was his name? Ahmed Best?
Yeah.
I don't think he deserved that. And then what's her name? The new girl, Kelly Marie Tran, right?
Uh-huh. The one where like her hot sister dies and she's just...
Oh, yeah. Of all the sisters, the hot one dies. Oh man!
She's the chubby Asian girl, right?
Yeah,
she is.
Okay.
I think her character would have. I think her performance would have been a lot better had her character been written better. I don't think it's her fault either, and the fact that we have a toxic fan base that's just blaming her, the actress solely, it's not right.
Speaking
Well,
of,
you're right about one thing. Okay, sorry.
No, go ahead. You're right about one thing. What?
I was just gonna say that Star Wars fans are the most toxic people on Earth. I
thought religious people are the most toxic people on Earth.
Of the nerds. Well, I guess religion is just like religious people are just nerds for religion, but
is like the Bible not written by God? It's pretty much just fan fiction. Like people who knew. I mean, it's basically a fucking fandom, right?
what I always tell people who I know who are religious is I'm like, just one miracle. Just show me one miracle and I'll go to church. Just one time. That's all I need. One thing.
What do they
the
say?
miracle was you got married in Texas and didn't get shot outside the courthouse.
Yeah. I wish a motherfucker would.
I'm glad to know you and your husband are packing.
Yeah, well.
All right. Anyway, Pierce, you have some Star Wars stuff to talk about, don't you?
Yeah, so I wanted to go into some Baby Yoda theories. So to start it off, I have a little tribute to Baby Yoda that I made.
Wait, did you made this yourself?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It better not be Baby Yoda with Buscemi eyes.
It's really lame.
With Steve Buscemi.
You don't like the Steve Buscemi eyes?
Is it, Pierce, is it you dressed up like Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover but with Baby Yoda on you? All right, here we go.
All right, so I'm sure you're laughing.
So Pierce, well, you guys, it's not Baby Yoda, right? There's no actual name right now.
Baby Yoda is not.
Well, Yoda doesn't have a species. I mean, then no one knows what his species name is. No one knows what planet he comes from. So everyone just calls him Baby Yoda.
Which might end up being correct. So we don't know.
I think they call him the child.
The child. Yeah,
child.
Child. Wait.
So you could how long has The Mandalorian been out? A month now, right?
Almost a month. Yeah.
Like they recently started production on those little stuffed animals and shit, so you could barely start to order them right now. So like it was
barely started.
Yeah, it was kept so close.
Well, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kept in such secret like that they didn't even start producing them until recently.
So obviously, Baby Yoda is like the most adorable thing ever in the Star Wars universe.
Ever.
It's the Porgs.
Fucking universe.
Any universe.
Did you see that meme I posted? It was like, Baby Yoda versus Baby Groot, and like someone commented like, I'd use Baby Groot as firewood to keep Baby Yoda warm.
David, we literally talked about this on the last show.
talked about that on the show.
On the last episode. You were here.
Cool.
You were right there.
I was sitting right here.
But it's true. I would do that as well. I'd use him as firewood. Who is Baby Yoda?
Questions.
Is the question that we must answer. So the first theory that you kind of hear everywhere right now is that he's the love child of Yoda and Yaddle.
Yep, that's what I think.
And, it's plausible because they're the only two of the species that we know. That's pretty much the only thing that backs that theory.
And they're in the Jedi Council at the same time.
And they knew each other. But since they were on the Jedi Council, we know that the Jedi can't have any romance, right? Because when Anakin...
Are they like
when Anakin started getting close, right? When Anakin started getting close to Padme, it was forbidden for them to have a romance. So
because the High Priest wanted Anakin to himself.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It makes you think that Yoda would never do such a thing with Yaddle, and Yaddle was also on the council. But and the other thing is like there's no evidence whatsoever of like them ever even like talking to each other. She was just on the council too.
Did Yaddle ever talk?
Yeah, she did. She has like 18 seconds in the
okay.
If you watch your most hated Star Wars film.
I don't remember.
That's why. Yeah, I'm curious if does she talk like he does with the backwards?
She speaks normally.
Like out of sequence.
Yeah,
Yoda is the only one of his like even if you get like other species of like Yoda, he would be the only one that talks like that.
So he's like a hipster. Like
George said, but Yoda wanted to clap those cheeks.
Yeah, I really think he did, dude. Okay, honestly.
So that's your leading theory for you, David.
No. Not only that they were in. There's a part. That is part of it. What the other part of it is that the fact that she stepped down from the Jedi Council right after Episode 1 and between Episode 2. For some reason, she just kind of took a little back seat of everything
because she wanted to get done.
No. I think
they were both not on the council. Well, they were both not on the council, so she was like, "Hey, let's do this shit."
I think she was pregnant, bro.
Could be.
The baby would have already been born before. But
wouldn't
the
that
Phantom
mean
Menace,
that Yoda would turn to the dark side? Because it's kind of like one of those forbidden things. So he kind of did something against the Jedi code.
I don't think he would turn to the dark side. He just want to be like, "Yo, I've never had my dick wet."
Hey, David, did you hear what Zipp just said?
What do you say?
He said the baby would have been born before the Phantom Menace.
If he's 50 years old, that would put it being born before the Phantom Menace.
No, it would put the baby. It would put the baby in between Episode 1 and Episode 2 because Anakin shows up to the Jedi Order about 8 to 10 years old, correct? And so he dies as Lord Vader. About roughly late 50s, early 60s. So if it's early 60s, take away 50.
30. I don't know. I think there was. So you have 10 years between Phantom Menace and the second one, 3 years between 2 and 3, 20 years between 3 and 4, and then 5 years between
5 and 6.
I don't know. The math's tight. I don't know. What do I know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's tight. I'm saying, but
here's another theory that I've been hearing is that Baby Yoda is a reincarnation of Yoda.
Okay.
So we know from the past movies that Jedi can do like crazy things like immortality. They're also known to have Force ghosts after dying. So Qui-Gon had a Force ghost, and that's how Yoda learned, and that's how Obi-Wan Kenobi learned. Obi-Wan Kenobi had a Force ghost, Yoda had a Force ghost, and Anakin even had a Force ghost, which was edited into the movie.
Which is weird. Doesn't make any sense.
It is kind of weird.
It's a plot hole.
Yeah.
Could be a plot hole, or...
Well, something that comes up a lot in Star Wars is that nothing is ever a plot hole because they always find a way to go back and rewrite it to make it not one.
Or that's the way that George Lucas wanted it to be. Like, remember how the plot hole with Episode 4 in New Hope was that, why would the Death Star have a small fucking little hole where they can like shoot something in it? Why not block it off with whatever?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that it seems like there's always a way they go back and make it work. Right. But
there's another thing
Sith can't have Force ghosts, and Vader quit being a Jedi at the same time.
Well, the idea behind that is that before he died, he turned back to the light side.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of makes sense to me. Like, if he turned back to the light side before he died, it would make sense that he became a Force ghost.
He was also supposed to be in like half from the Force, right? Because he didn't have a father.
Yeah, right. He was supposed to be like a Jesus type character.
Yes.
Right. So the reason why I think that he could be Yoda, based on like his physical appearance, is if you look at Yaddle and Yoda, like even though they're the same species and she's a different gender, Yaddle looks totally different. Like she's got a lot of different features about her. She has hair. Like Yoda has like a little patch of hair, I think.
Yoda has hair.
Yeah, he's
old.
A little gray hair.
Like,
yeah, it's just like gray, but you mostly. I feel like you mostly don't even see his hair. But
sure, in his younger days, he would have like had a mane whipping around,
Right, but if you look at Baby Yoda, he looks just like he could be Yoda as a baby, right? He has that exact look.
I don't know. I think it's completely original.
Reason why I wouldn't buy this theory is because if Yoda becomes a Force ghost, it doesn't make sense that he would be reincarnated. So I think that's kind of a hole in that theory.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. What do you think? Could he be Yoda?
Zipp, what do you say? What were you saying?
I don't even remember. But I don't think that because the in the first 2 episodes, the one nerd who was working with what's this guy's name? Werner Herzog. He's got the his insignia is from the cloning facility from the prequels. Yeah. So it's implying that they're trying to clone the baby. So I don't know if they would go back to that well as the origin story of the baby. Oh, I'm sorry. That
as far as episode 3, because that fight with Yoda and the Emperor or Palpatine, remember in the Senate room, the Senate Council chambers, or whatever?
Yeah.
They're fighting and everything. Yoda somehow loses his coat, and as he's falling to the ground, he falls. The camera shows him falling to the ground, but then the camera cuts to, and it shows his coat just kind of, flying through the air, and it just dangles on a fucking like pillar that's like just there, and it just hangs on this like kind of hook. There's no reason why they would have to show the coat falling. Like, we saw Yoda fall. We don't give a shit about the coat. But why would they cut to the coat actually being shown that it's still there in the chamber in the Senate chambers? It would have his DNA for sure.
But the baby was already born by the time episode 3 happened.
If that is a correct theory that Yoda and Yaddle fucked. If it's not, then...
Well, no, I mean, I agree with Zipp on the not being a clone thing, because if they're trying to clone him now... Like, they were trying to clone the baby in Mandalorian. Why would he be a clone? Like, they're making a clone of a clone. They could have made more clones.
Do you remember in the Clone Wars, when Obi-Wan is there at the cloning facility, they're discussing, the army that they have cloned. Mm-hmm. This army of, fucking Commander Cody's or whatever the fuck, they're aged quicker. Right. So they're just double time. Like, we need more. So they aged them quicker
on purpose. So
they did it on purpose. Wouldn't you think they would do the same thing with Yoda? So even though this baby is registered as like a sort of 50-year-old, it would make sense within the same timeline. It would make sense that if he was made at this cloning facility, they would have aged him a lot quicker because we need that fucking baby Yoda.
Right. So so what you guys are bringing up is that they're trying to clone baby Yoda, right? So that kind of ties into my next theory, is that he is a clone of Yoda, right? He could just be a clone of Yoda. And the fact that, he's 50 years old, right? The race, ages slower. But at the same time, you have to think, if he's 50 years old, you think that he'd at least learn to talk by now. And maybe those speech problems that he has is, they're the same because he is just a clone of Yoda. And that's why he's not able to talk yet. Or even just say the basic words.
Yeah, he's like.
Now, but here's a theory that ties to the baby clone story theory. Palpatine could have cloned Yoda so that he could research his lifespan to try to create a longer lifespan or an eternal life for himself. So that could have been the reason why Yoda got cloned in the first place, as a Palpatine scheme to extend his own life.
Would make sense as far as the Rise of Skywalker, his laugh at the end of the trailer.
Right. So, who knows?
Now, real quick, though, if we're going to talk about clones, and we've all watched Chapter 5 of The Mandalorian?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm going to watch anyway, no matter what.
Okay. So, who do we think... Do we think that the mysterious figure at the end of Chapter 5 who goes up to the Asian assassin whose name I didn't remember... is Boba Fett? Do you think that there's a chance that it's Boba Fett?
He's still alive, according to the canon. Is he not?
And it's on Tatooine, and they had a couple Boba Fett references in the episode.
It could be. I think that they're more likely to introduce new characters than bring back old characters. As far as the route they've been going so far.
That is true. Now, the theory I did hear was that they might be setting up Boba Fett to come in at the end of the series to be the big bad for next, because apparently they're doing another one of these next year.
Boba Fett isn't even a Mandalorian, though.
No, he's not.
No.
Wait, he's Jango
not?
Fett
was a... He's a bounty hunter.
He's a dude.
He's a clone.
Fake, dude.
Yeah.
Jango Fett is a dude who just got a hold of armor. That's not even Mandalorian armor, dude. That's not even Beskar.
Well, wasn't Jango Fett like a bounty hunter? I thought. Because they were trying to
bounty hunter afterwards, yeah, but he was never really considered a part of the Mandalorian tribe.
Right, and Boba Fett is just Jango's son quotation, but it was just another clone.
A clone that aged naturally, so that's why he by this point would still be, you know, what, about a 40-year-old man, and not, I guess so old he's dead. I don't know how quick they age. So,
what do you think of this theory? So, people are saying that no, he was not Yoda and Yaddle's love child, but Yoda's species is asexual and they're born out of the Force. Kind of how like Anakin was born out of the Force.
So is that why their midichlorian level is so fucking high? Because
it could be. It could explain also why there's not many of them. You know, and they're saying like they kind of just like grow out of like the vegetation or something, and they become, and that kind of explains like why they would be green in color, because they're basically born out of like vegetation and earth and stuff. Obviously not earth, but
I get what you're saying.
Pieces of land. Great. So that's a possibility right there.
How many species are we? Not this crude matter.
What do you think? Is that plausible?
It's very. I mean, as of right now, everything's up for theory and speculation. Anything is possible, but we won't know until we get to that point, until they're ready to reveal to us.
I wonder if they knew how much of a sensation the baby would be once they created it, because like, what if they just figured like Baby Yoda was just part of like maybe like the first story line that they were gonna make, and then he's like gone after that. But now seeing all the hype, they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, everybody loves this thing! Like, I gotta make something out of it."
Gotta figure it out.
Do you think they had something bigger planned from the beginning?
They have to have something bigger planned from the beginning, because even George Lucas would have had something planned bigger from the beginning.
That's true. I mean, he could be the new chosen one if you think about it.
That's what I'm kind of like. Everything that you're saying right now makes me think that maybe he is actually the chosen one.
Because the Skywalker legacy is ending. Right, this is the last episode of the Skywalker legacy.
It's called Rise of the Skywalker, though, right? So Skywalker is going to be like the new
Weekend at Skywalker's, religion. Where he's just.
It's going to be like the new religion or some shit, right?
We don't know what that means. That could mean so many different things. I think that's why they set that as the title, because you don't really know what that means at all.
Well, how many Skywalkers are even left? Just Kylo Ren, right?
Right, but that's what we think, right?
Maybe Rey. Maybe Rey.
Maybe Rey. I don't know. I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm calling it. Luke's cut off hand has to have something to do with this, because why would they have the lightsaber,
but not his hand?
But not the hand. And then cloning always gets brought up as this big thing in the universe. And I don't know. I think his fucking hand has something to do with it, and they cloned it, and Rey is something from that. But I don't know. David, I'm getting heavy vibes that you did not like The Last Jedi.
I've said that repeatedly.
Yeah, I've said.
Fucking hated that goddamn movie.
I wanted to love it. I went into it so bad. I tried.
Did you watch it more than once?
I've only seen it once. That shows that tells you how much I didn't like it.
But I'll tell you that when we first watched it and we had a discussion on the show, I did not like it. I was like, okay, it was kind of lame. Like, I'll be honest. But then when I watched it again, after Josh talked to me about like his theories and everything, and then I watched some theory videos, I went and watched it, and I was like, okay, like there's a lot of it that I just didn't understand that they were trying to do. I don't think they did a good job of like conveying what they were trying to push forward. And after like thinking about it, I was like, okay, this actually makes a lot more sense than it initially did. And there's a lot that went into it that it's like the reason they had Yoda there and stuff like that kind of seemed dumb at first. But then when I thought about it, I was like, okay, maybe that was for a reason, and maybe they're alluding to something else. It all depends on this last movie. Like, how are they going to wrap it all up?
I didn't like the direction they took Luke Skywalker.
No, I didn't either.
No.
They made everything that he did in 4, 5, and 6 all for nothing. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Like,
he's supposed to be the actual chosen one, right? He's supposed to be the actual chosen one. but he ends up being like a shitty teacher that creates another Darth Vader.
It makes it like this. It goes like, everything that Darth Vader ever did, all the bad, and you joined the dark side and everything like that. He sensed that there was still a little bit of hope left in him, and he's like, you know what? I can change him. I could change him. I could change him.
Right.
All 3 fucking movies, he spends his whole fucking time trying to change that little bit of good that he senses in Darth Vader. His nephew has a bad dream, and he's like, "Got to kill the kid!" Like, fucking,
I have to kill this kid.
Yeah.
Hold on. Elizabeth, watching the show, says she's never seen Star Wars yet.
Girl, you are missing.
Do you have Disney Plus? If you have Disney Plus, they're all on there.
They're all on there.
Binge it.
Wow.
My biggest that was my biggest hatred for Last Jedi. But another thing was that whole I was gonna watch regardless. And that
my biggest criticism of the newer movies is that they only raise more questions rather than giving answers. Right? All they do is pose more questions, create more mystery, and they don't answer anything. Just like Snoke. Like Snoke is like, okay, who's Snoke? Oh, maybe he's part of this. Maybe there's a whole, a storyline with Snoke, and then they just fucking kill him, and you're like, oh,
and they killed him off, and it was like, I don't know.
Don't they fucking always do that shit? Just like with Darth Maul, they were just like, "Hey, this guy's real cool. Don't get used to him, though."
Yeah. Darth Maul's still alive.
Same with Dooku. Dooku didn't last long either.
In the original trilogy, because I'm judging based on how old we all are, that we all probably had the privilege of watching 4, 5, and 6 in a row.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But if you think about it from the perspective of somebody who only watches 4 and then 5, you're like, well, who's the fucking emperor? Like, what does he do? Like, is he mad? And then you watch 6,
right?
And so I don't know. Like, when you say that the sequel trilogy doesn't answer a lot of questions, it's like, well, I don't think the original ever did either.
Right, and that's why I'm saying that the last movie matters the most, because if they tie everything up in a neat bow, then we can say, okay, you guys did a good job. But I just have a feeling they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's still going to be so many questions. Like, who's the kid at the end of episode 8? The one that, like, drags the broom to him with the Force?
He's like,
I think that is just supposed to symbolize that, like, the Force is still
alive.
The Force is still alive in people, and now that there's not the Jedi out there, like, taking these children, which that sounds weird when you phrase it like that. I think that I don't know. I don't think you should dig. I don't think you should dig deep into that.
They're supposed to be celibate.
Supposed to be.
We can't have.
They're a religion. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have very much faith that they're gonna wrap it all up very well. But
they're gonna. I
still think I'll enjoy the movie. But yeah, that's all I got for my theories about Baby Yoda.
All right. I mean, we kind of been revisiting Mandalorian every week, right?
Yeah.
It's great.
And David, you're always behind, dude. Like, I watched it the day of, and you're a way bigger Star Wars fan than I am.
It's a great show. I really
How much did we luck out, by the way, that Zipp actually watches Star Wars? Imagine if, imagine if our guests, just did not give a fuck about Star Wars.
He's like, what's Star Wars?
That is the only Star Wars is the only nerd franchise that I give even a iota of fucks about.
No Marvel at all.
I mean, I used to read comic books, and I really like the MCU movies. They're fun. They're really entertaining. But as far as caring enough to really read about it and read things that are outside of the films and the TV shows, Star Wars is it. Yeah.
Do you think that you would watch a TV show dedicated to the life of Stan Lee?
An entire a miniseries?
Just like an episode.
Is this a topic that you're touching on? Right?
Yeah. I mean,
I would.
This is a transition, David. That's what's happening.
Stan Lee created so many iconic characters and such a huge chunk of American pop culture. Yeah, I bet he's got an interesting story.
Yeah.
Apparently he's not he wasn't God's brightest child, and that's why all his characters had the alliteration, Peter Parker, Stephen Strange, because he couldn't remember them.
Really?
I don't know. That might be bullshit, but that's what I've heard. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. So ABC's later this month is gonna have a special celebrating Marvel Stan Lee is what it's called. It's gonna have a bunch of It's gonna have a bunch of Marvel stars, and they're gonna talk about like all kinds of stuff like never before seen footage, interviews of him, and then just archive footage from Marvel and ABC. But there's gonna be a fuck ton of people, dude.
Are they gonna show that video of the video that Chris Pratt took during Infinity War? He like smuggled in his cell phone on set, and he was like filming. Like everybody was just on set, kind of like just lingering around, waiting to do the next take, whatever. And he was just going around like that. He's like, never again are you going to get like this cast of actors and characters all in one spot.
He said that,
and then he took to the phone because he was taking a video.
No
he's not supposed to. Chris Pratt did this, and then he pans back, and then Chris Evans realizes what he's doing, and his face is like. He walks over to him. He's like, "How'd you get that in?" He's like, "I brought it in." Like, dude, it's the funniest.
He put it in his prison wallet.
You could look it up online. It's fucking hilarious.
So Stan Lee's in it? Is that what
no. I'm just, like the cast of characters, like everybody there in Infinity War, was just he was.
We're talking about Stan Lee right now, though.
I know. I'm saying like, what are they gonna show that video in this fucking series or whatever the special? That's what I fucking ask.
Probably not.
I don't
probably
know
not
why.
He doesn't have
that,
shit to do with Stan Lee. Fucking idiot. Are they gonna show some Batman footage too? Oh man. Anyway, so December 20th at 8 p.m. It's gonna have a lot of people like Tom Hiddleston, Paul Bettany, Kobe Smulders. Jimmy Kimmel's gonna be Method Man for some reason. What the fuck, Method Man?
Right, they're not even in the.
Are you sure that's not saying Jimmy Kimmel and Method Man? Because that makes way more sense.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, Method Man's gonna be there. Why is Method Man gonna be there though? The fuck does he have to do? I don't know.
I thought you said Jimmy Kimmel would be playing Method Man.
Oh no.
Okay, that's why I was like,
come on, Method Man. Kevin Smith will also be there. Seth Green, Bob Iger. You guys know who that is. Todd McFarlane, Kevin Feige? Kevin
Feigl.
Feigl goes west.
What's his name again?
Beige, it looks like.
Feigl.
Fogel. That's what I was thinking.
Alex Whiteley says Method Man is a big comic book fan.
Oh.
All right.
Okay. But there's a lot of fucking people. It's going to be a documentary. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to watch it. ABC. December 20th.
What's the time?
Diaper time?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern. You're is that your time zone? You're in the one next to that.
He's Mid-Eastern.
I'm Central.
Middle East.
Central. Yeah, Middle East.
All right, we're gonna get to know Zipp, but right before I talk about that, there's one more thing I want to talk about. On the note of reboots, remakes, and sequels, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is coming back.
What?
It is.
Yes. So
Moran is coming back.
So Joe Johnston is the one who created the first one. Aside from the first one, he wasn't attached to
Joe
either of them.
Johnston.
But,
Johnston.
But what the fuck is that from?
It's from fucking Orange County, dude.
Orange County. Okay.
He's like, hey, you there? He's like, what's your name?
I'll be right back.
Joe John.
Okay.
All right.
He's
He's
like,
a Johnston.
He's like, David's talking. I'm out.
Shit.
All right, guys, bathroom break.
We all leaving? Mid-show.
All right. So anyway, Josh Gad. You guys know who Josh Gad is?
No, never heard of him.
I've heard that name.
He's the guy who plays Olaf. He was also in that Kevin Hart movie, The Wedding Ringer.
Oh, the fat guy.
Yeah. So he's going to be playing the son of Wayne Zelensky. Wayne Zelensky.
George.
The guy who's played by Rick Moranis. And then, of course, history is going to repeat itself because he's going to accidentally shrink his kids. Oh, dang.
Is he going to accidentally like shrink himself and lose weight or not?
What's his name again?
Josh Gad.
I got to see if he has
also played like Gaston's.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. His sidekick.
I don't know if he could pull off the look though.
But it's actually going to go. It's slated for a theatrical release, so it's not going to be on Disney Plus like you would think it normally would.
It's probably going to be lame.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I missed all of that, and I'm just gonna tell you, a Honey I Shrunk the Kids remake is unnecessary and will fucking suck.
I mean, so the guy who created it back in the day, he made the Rocketeer. Remember that? Page Master, Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji?
He did Jumanji also. He also did Captain America: The First Avenger.
He wrote that script or what?
He was part of it. I don't know what he did.
What did he do?
That's a great question. Next question. Anyway, I would not watch it in theaters. If it was on Disney Plus, I would watch it. But theatrical release, nah, it's gonna do shitty.
I gotta go.
I mean, okay, hold on. I'll say this right now. If Rick Moranis is not in the new Ghostbusters, if they attach him to this movie, I will watch it 100%.
Rick Moranis got to be in the new Ghostbusters. He's got to be in the new Ghostbusters.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. Have you?
I know the original cast coming back. They're alive.
Harold Ramis.
Trailer's coming out tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah.
What?
We'll see.
I saw that on Facebook. That might be complete bullshit, though. Sorry.
I know. Fine.
Speaking of you, Zipp, what kind of projects you got? So you got NRQ, which is No Redeeming Qualities podcast, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
What kind of stuff?
No Redeeming Qualities podcast. We actually don't really have anything crazy in the works right now. Just it's a weekly podcast. We had an audio drama come out this year, and we're currently working on the sequel, but it ain't probably coming out until next summer at the earliest. So nothing really to talk about there. But yeah, new episode drops every Monday. nrqpodcast.com. Also anywhere else you can find podcasts. It's a comedy podcast, and it's a lot of your stereotypical two fat white friends talking while they drink. No offense to y'all, but
drink.
We
too.
also
none of us are white.
Oh yeah, my apologies. I didn't mean to offend you like that. But we also try to do a lot of we try to go beyond what a lot of other podcasts do. So we do a lot of research based episodes about specific topics and stuff. And
we don't do research worth a damn, David.
Yeah. No,
I made a Yoda tribute.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I cried.
Do you make long, awkward videos with like no dialogue or anything?
I work in the realm of audio, but my advice would be if you make a song for the video slide, have the song cover the length of the video slide.
Did it not?
I'll try.
I don't think it did. I only heard the first couple pictures of Baby Yoda.
Fucking Pierce, come on, man.
No, it did. He just couldn't hear it from our side.
Oh, okay.
I promise. It faded away at the most awkward time. I promise you.
Oh, Zipp small again. His picture's slowly backing away.
I do want to. We have a production company called Gamma Gator Productions that does a lot of very boring stuff like editing and voice work. But we have produced another podcast that's not a comedy podcast that's about socialism. I'm not on it, but I produce it. And so if you're somebody who hates socialism, that probably means that you don't know what it is. And I encourage you to listen because it's supposed to be educational towards people who have no idea what socialism is or democratic socialism, whatever it is you want to call it. So, and it's called One Big Toilet. And you can also find that at nrqpodcast.com. One Big Toilet is to show you that if we were to be socialist, it doesn't mean that we all have just one big toilet that we all share.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
Sounds good.
So, No Redeeming Qualities, that's the one where you're talking about the guy, George mentioned that, the guy being pushed down the stairs in a wheelchair.
Yes. Yeah, so we that was our audio drama. We called it Wheels of Justice, which what started as an attempt to make a true crime podcast, literally just to ride on the coattails of true crime podcasting. And then we were like, this fucking sucks. I don't want to do this. And so we actually just wrote a fully scripted, fully acted, it's got about 20 different performers in it with music and sound effects and all that crap. And it is about the fake investigation into who pushed the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, who is our actual governor, who is a paraplegic man.
That's right.
Who pushed Governor Greg Abbott down a staircase. It did get an award. So
did it really?
Who shot Lily Ballot?
Yeah, the Here Now, or what I should probably remember what it is. It's the Here Now Audio Festival in Kansas City gave it silver. So
hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
How much time do you guys put into creating an episode? You said you release it every week.
Yeah. So usually if it's one that's research based, I would say that because I co-host it with my co-host is named Bob. I would say that I probably put in 2 or 3 hours of research into whatever the topic is. We actually have our patrons on Patreon. If you pledge a certain amount of money, you get to pick a topic. So we've done one about marijuana. We did one about
cocaine.
Butte. Yeah, I mean, we would do it on cocaine. Yeah, we did one on Butte, Montana.
You need research? You need a first-hand research?
Yeah. I mean, if you've got any, yeah, sure. Let me know. But and then if it's just a comedy episode, which we just kind of we literally just share our bits, probably less time than that. But
nice. Okay. What about your dramas? How long does that take?
Oh my God, the Wheels of Justice took us about a year to make, but my mom died. But my mom died in the middle of it, so that definitely heavily. Yeah, thank you. That definitely slowed it down. But yeah, like that was also not like a year of concentrated, nonstop work at it. It was just like chipping away, write a scene here, chip away, write a scene here, find the fucking actors, get the actors to record the lines. You know, I was learning how to do a lot of it. So yeah, Wheels of Justice took an embarrassing amount of time.
Damn. That's still a lot of fucking patience, man. Yeah. Like we get on here, we go live, and we call it a fucking day. Like that's it. We don't edit worth a damn. We just fucking we just do it. So for me, like I actually started recording. I started recording a long time ago. I probably spent like 2 days on it, and I was like, "Nah, this is too much work. I'm done." And it was like this scripted podcast that I was doing, and I just fucking threw in the towel almost immediately.
Yeah, because like the way I look at it is like I mean, and normally, you know, Wheels of Justice is an extreme outliner on that, like as far as like how much effort we put into it. But it just kind of became this like, hey, if we're gonna do this, let's make it right, you know, let's at least do it so it sounds like an actual audio play, you know.
That's pretty badass though. Where do you get your sound bites from? Never mind. I'll ask you this stuff later. Anyway.
The internet. Or I just made them. Or I just took a microphone. It's like I need a toilet flushing.
Like
I just bring the mic in there and I figure. Yeah. Like,
nice.
Yes. Like that's the kind of crap. Like there's a scene where me and Bob, my co-host, get beat up by a bunch of people in wheelchairs. And I was like having to figure out how to get like wheelchair sound effects and stuff. and so like, I ended up finding my mom was in one, so we ended up using like the one that she had, and I mean it was kind of like a learning effort, you know, like a learning process. So,
jeez. All right. Anyway, that sounds fucking awesome. One more time, NRQ podcast.
NRQpodcast.com.
Got it.
Awesome. Give it a listen. So I have one more thing to talk about before we go to Speakeasy Meme Exchange. Did you guys hear about that Instagram influencer that recommends sunning your butthole?
No, I did not, but I saw the photo of it.
Oh shit, Pierce is tiny. Oh, there you go. So
there he is.
There's an Instagram influencer that says that it strengthens your organs and it prevents you from leaking chi and also promotes a deeper sleep. So they seriously, like, there's a picture of them like with their legs up, like fold. Yeah, dude, for sure. So you may ask yourself, who the fuck would do that, right?
Lots of people.
Like, I want to shove this thing up where the sun don't shine. We'll see about that.
So
other than just kind of legs up.
Go ahead.
Say Josh Brolin.
Yes. So Josh
burns
Brolin,
his butthole.
Josh Brolin came out saying that he tried. It's called perineum sunning. And
Josh Brolin, like,
Josh
worried about
Brolin.
her, and he's like, "Come at me, Ant-Man."
Yep, that's right.
Because he did the voice for Thanos, right? And there was that whole theory of like Ant-Man's just going to run up his butt.
So he said, "Do not do it as long as I did." He said, "My pucker hole is crazy burned, and I was going to spend the day shopping with my family. Instead, I'm icing it and using aloe and burn cream."
Oh,
I mean, they literally refer to your asshole as where the sun doesn't shine for a reason.
Yeah.
You know.
That's fucking crazy.
Where did Josh Brolin do that? Just in his backyard?
Yeah, can you imagine just flying a drone around looking around?
On the planet of Titan, he walked out. He's like, everything's balanced the way all things should be. Sunshine above.
Yeah, my tan is perfectly balanced.
You think people do it with like a lay back or like a downward dog facing?
A face down, ass up?
Yeah.
Depending on the sun position, yeah. The both. Why not all day?
The both?
Like in the morning and then again in late afternoon. I don't fucking know.
Oh, man. Anyway, I wouldn't do it. Don't recommend it. David, you want to give it a shot? Go ahead.
I gotta like trim back there, dude. It's just like a jungle. It's weeds
and in the middle of Santa Ana, just
yeah.
Oh man,
I'll have a bullet fall from the sky and like just get me in the ass. Be like, call it $1 million win. I never saw a dime.
All right. Anyway, before we say goodnight, let's take a look at some Speakeasy memes. So we have Speakeasy Meme Exchange on Facebook. If you join up with it, it's a place where you could really just be yourself, post whatever the fuck you want without fear of judgment or getting banned, unless the robots find you. But anyway, we pull some that are not so bad and show you guys here on the show. So here's one of them. David, go ahead.
I can't read that. It's all stretched out.
Hold on.
Wait, hold on. I can read it on here on the iPad. Hold on. The fuck? Fine. Then I guess we're boyfriend and girlfriend, says the girl. Then like, one condition. What? I get to be the boyfriend. On the bottom it says, a joke in 2005, an important clarification in 2018.
Mm. I thought this was that 70s show for a second.
That's Drake and Josh.
Yeah, I got that now.
All right, here's another one David sent.
Merry Christmas. I'm Jewish. Oh, I'm sorry. And the guy walks away. He's like, "You're a Jew."
Did you notice that that's the only one with the nose?
Yeah. Like they gave him little Jew curls too.
David. There's another one.
Okay, I think this one I can read. Hits blood. I bet the scariest thing that you can read in Braille as a blind person is "do not touch." It's a dude wrapped in a hoodie and he's just looking around like, what? Bruh.
Okay. What's this one? David, you're going to have to talk about this because I have no idea what the fuck this topic's about.
It pertains to the, was it Thursday or Friday? Thursday incident, right? Fridays? I don't know. The incident in Florida where the shootout happened, two armed robbers that were robbing a jewelry store took off and hijacked the UPS truck. They used the UPS driver as a hostage. The Florida police, finally, they didn't really capture him because they ran into traffic. So then the Florida police decided to move in. Anyways, this meme says poorly trained police, and it's a cat looking through the scope of a fucking gun. And the gun says military grade weapons. And then in the scope on the sights is another cat that's crying that says hostages.
Explain that. Did the police shoot a fucking hostage or something?
They shot the hostage, and then yes, they did. Okay, and if you look up on YouTube, if you gotta keep scrolling. Trust me, it's there. There is video on the left side of the truck as the helicopter is, flying around. The cops move in and they start shooting up the truck. Pan around to the right side, the bodies are dead. But if you get from the view of the helicopters on the right side of the truck, you can see that one of the jewelry robbers is in there. He's trying to like shuffle around. The UPS driver is like trying to crawl the fuck out of the stairs, and he's like putting his hands up and he's crawling on the ground. And the cops, they just keep lining him up, dude. And the cops kill the fucking UPS driver and as well as innocent bystander because the trajectory of the bullets they were firing on both sides of this truck, on all sides rather, they didn't really care about the innocent bystanders that were stuck in dead traffic. This is what bothers like everybody, that there was families inside those cars, in the middle of fucking rush hour, but instead of clearing out this whole fucking road, like, hey, get out of your car, hide behind the engine block, at least something. You need good cover. You need to get the fuck out of here. I mean, one of the things that they, teach you in like, gun etiquette and gun 101 is like, you need to shoot your target, but what lies beyond your target is also your concern, because that's going to lie on you.
So I was going to file a complaint about my packages being late, but I guess I just
David, you sound pretty anti-cop. I really am curious how you would feel if somebody broke into your house and you needed somebody to show up 9 hours after the fact
I wouldn't even call the cops.
To take a, yeah, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I would actually kill whoever broke inside my house.
No, I had a house break in a couple of years ago, and a pistol got stolen out of my nightstand, and it took them 72 hours to show up to take the fucking report. So
white?
Say what? Yeah, I did. I told them. I said I am a white person who's had a crime committed against him. And they still didn't come. So I can only imagine how long it would have taken for them to show up at your house, David.
They don't.
They just went.
This whole neighborhood.
They walk in and they're like, "Get on the ground." Officer down.
There's fucking gunshots that are being heard while they're live, and the window's open. There's like Josh is like, "David, is that a firework or a gunshot?" I'm like, "Well, it's a gunshot." Well, welcome to Santa Ana. Happens all the time. I swear to God, they don't show up.
Got to keep the property values low.
Here's one for you, David.
That's the only good thing. Yes, December 7th was yesterday. This is what would you call this? A Pornhub template, but the picture is of a B-29 super flying fortress, and in the caption it reads, "Pilot drops huge load on Japanese cutie." It was like in sort of correlation of December 7th, which was yesterday. And if anybody remembers, before 9/11. December 7th was the day that you always remembered. And then, like, look out.
I don't let him to ruin it.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
That's why,
thanks a lot, Obama. I meant
I fucking idiot.
We were actually, we were happy because we were, for a second, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get married on Pearl Harbor Day. And so thankfully we got married on the 6th. So
that's, you probably could have gotten like half off shots on Kamikaze,
Yeah.
That joke bomb? No. On this day in history, Japan placed an order for the spiciest two-piece combo known to mankind.
Anyway, let's move along. So we recently reposted this video here. David, is this the exact meme you were talking about?
The other meme that I had, it was it zoomed in on the word synonym.
Hey, David, but spell cinnamon.
See? I tried it.
A great start.
Yeah. I'm off to a better start than that last time.
Where the fuck Zipp go?
Did he leave?
I have no idea where he went.
I'm here.
Was it the Japan thing? Wait, real quick before you end the show. How do you guys feel about like Japanese people going to visit like the USS Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii?
I don't think it's a big deal. Why would it be a big deal?
Like, weren't they the ones that bombed us? Why would they show up to?
I don't think the people that are going to the memorial are the same people that.
Okay, well then, how do you feel about like old veterans of like, fucking the Nazi?
Do you think they're going up to the memorial going like, ha?
I think they're going there and like for the wrong reasons. Like, man, I remember how tough that day was. Like, yeah, it was really tough, but we kept fighting. And they look at each other like, wait, what? It would be like the same if a fucking former Nazi showed up to the fucking Holocaust Museum and be like, I remember being here. Well, let me tell you, like, it's fucking, it bothers me.
Let me tell you, it was a gas.
Same page.
All right, sorry, Zipp, about your lady that you're related to in your town, but, that was just a joke.
I'm sorry?
Never mind. Anyway, so here's this. So this right here, I didn't really laugh so hard at this meme. It says me walking out of the bedroom after giving her an extremely decent wienering. but what I laughed harder at is this guy is on my friends list here, Zach. He wrote slang and dangalang. And I laughed so much harder at the fact that he wrote slang and dangalang than the entire fucking meme. And that's all I wanted to share. Slang and dangalang. Man. Good stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, that has been our show, guys. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Speakeasy Gentlemen. Also, you can find us on patreon.com/The Speakeasy Gentlemen. Audio for all episodes, as soon as we get it up, is on iTunes and Podbean. Pierce just needs to send it over to me. Special thanks to Speakeasy team, Vader, Ricky, Pierce, David, of course, Zipp. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you being here once again. Had a great time with you.
And congratulations again on your wedding, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hopefully it lasts. Fingers crossed.
Hey, you got guns. Feel like you ain't leaving nowhere.
George, Elizabeth, Alex, thank you guys for staying so much on the chat. And see you guys next week. Looks like it's gonna be a Monday episode. See you guys next Monday. Cheers.